Cairo has a new museum dedicated to ancient Egypt. It's twice the size of the Louvre. Hey there, everyone. It's Jeff, and this is Plain English, where we help you upgrade your English with stories about current events and trending topics. This is episode number 799. In every episode, we tell a story, and today's story is about a new museum in Cairo. The museum was announced in 1992, more than 30 years ago. But it's finally open, and it will be complete at a grand opening later this year, more than 30 years after it was first announced. But by all accounts, it's worth the wait. On this episode, you'll learn about the new museum in Cairo, and who knows, maybe you'll put it on your travel list for the future. Every Plain English episode comes with some great practice activities, and you can find them for this episode at plainenglish.com/799. Before we start today's story, I'd just like to remind you that the podcast is just one part of how we can help you upgrade your English skills. At plainenglish.com, you can make faster progress with active learning strategies. You can take quizzes, do activities, listen to the fast version of the audio, watch video workshops, practice what you learn, and even join a live call with JR and me. It's all about helping you build your skills to become a better, more confident English speaker. Sound good? Go to plainenglish.com to start your free 14-day trial today. Now, let's jump into today's story. The civilization of ancient Egypt has captured the imaginations of many generations of children and adults around the world. Tourists have long made the pilgrimage to Cairo to see the pyramids of Giza for themselves. But visitors looking for a comprehensive museum with ancient Egyptian treasures would have been disappointed until now. That's because, after a long wait, Egypt finally has a museum worthy of its rich history. It's called the Grand Egyptian Museum, or GEM, and it's more than 3 decades in the making. Located just outside Cairo, the GEM will be the world's largest archaeological museum complex dedicated to a single civilization. And large is an understatement. At 500,000 square meters, it is twice the size of both the Louvre in Paris and the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York. It has more than 100,000 artifacts, many of which have never been displayed before. The museum's architecture is as awe-inspiring as its contents. Sleek and modern, the $1 billion structure was designed by the Irish architecture firm Hennigan Peng Architects. That firm beat out over 1,000 competitors to win the contract, and the results are impressive. The museum's design draws inspiration from both the surrounding landscape and from ancient Egyptian art. Glass facades let in the golden desert light. Hieroglyphic motifs decorate the building, and the entrance features a cluster of pyramids that pay homage to the ancient structures nearby. In the building's atrium, visitors are greeted by a statue of Ramses II, the most powerful pharaoh in Egypt's history. The 3,000-year-old red granite figure is gigantic and weighs more than 80 tons. For years, it stood in a traffic circle in downtown Cairo. Then, it was carefully transported and installed in its new home at the GEM. Just steps away from the atrium is the grand staircase, which features floor-to-ceiling windows that look out on the pyramids of Giza. Dozens of items line the stairway, including columns, sphinxes, obelisks, and coffins. Deeper inside the museum, there's an incredible diversity of items, from a mummified crocodile to a wig made from braided human hair. But the crown jewel of the collection is the Tutankhamun galleries. King Tutankhamun, or King Tut, is one of the most famous pharaohs of ancient Egypt. He's often called the Boy King because his rule began when he was just 9 years old, and it ended with his death at age 19. Though his reign was short, he had a profound impact on the country. He promoted Egyptian religion and art and restored tombs and statues dedicated to the ancient gods. His death is still one of the most mysterious events of Egypt's history. So, Egyptologists, those who study the language, history, and civilization of ancient Egypt, have been eagerly awaiting the grand opening of the gem. For the first time, it will give them the chance to view more than 5,000 items from King Tut's tomb. Seeing things like his sandals, bed, and golden coffin can give insight into his life and death. But for this, they'll have to wait a while longer. While the rest of the galleries are already open, the King Tut galleries won't open until the museum's grand opening, and that has just been delayed again. To those who have been following the museum's development, the latest delay can't be a surprise. Since its conception, the museum has faced a number of problems and delays. It was first proposed by Egypt's longtime authoritarian president Hosni Mubarak in 1992. A ceremonial foundational stone was laid a decade later, and construction began in 2005. Then came the setbacks. First, a global economic crisis hit in 2009. Then, the Arab Spring reached Egypt, leading to the overthrow of Hosni Mubarak in 2011. The COVID-19 pandemic and wars in Gaza and Sudan also contributed to the delays. After years of economic uncertainty and political instability, the grand opening had been rescheduled for July of 2025, but it's been delayed again by recent conflict in the Middle East. In the meantime, 11 of the 12 main exhibition galleries are open. Visitors can explore the partial collection, but that's not good enough for many frustrated travelers. Many people who booked trips to Cairo for the grand opening had to cancel their tickets. One tourist wrote, "We'll all be dead longer than King Tut himself by the time this place is open." But even in its unfinished state, the museum is special, not only for its unprecedented scale and its architecture, but for what it means to the country. For many years, looters took ancient Egyptian artifacts out of the country. And as a result, some of Egypt's most precious treasures are scattered across the world. The new museum changes that story. Now, Egypt has its own world-class museum. Now, Egypt is preserving and displaying artifacts from its own history, not watching others do so. The museum's grand opening has been rescheduled for November 1st, 2025. This is great news. I would not describe myself as being fascinated by ancient Egypt. I've been mildly curious about visiting the pyramids and the desert, but that alone has not been enough to put Egypt on my list of travel destinations. But if there's a great museum that I could spend a couple of days exploring, maybe before or after a trip to the pyramids, then that would make it worth it. Plus, I've never been to Africa, so this is a good reason to go, right? And that's all for us here at Plain English. This was episode number 799. This one was a travel episode. If you liked today's story, then you can explore other stories like this one at plainenglish.com. So we've got a great new section of the website that recommends stories based on your interests. So you can choose travel as your interest, and we'll show you stories about travel destinations from our almost 800 episode archive. That's all included at plainenglish.com. If you're not a member, sign up today, plainenglish.com. If you are a member, then you'll see a new For You section on your dashboard. Just choose your topics and we'll show you stories that you'll love. We'll be back next week for number 800. See you then. Listen up if you speak Spanish, Portuguese, Chinese, German, French, Italian, Japanese, Polish, or Turkish. One of the most frustrating things about listening and reading in a second language is being confused by unfamiliar words or phrases. When you listen to Plain English, or when you read the transcript, you probably encounter some words you don't know. When that happens, you have a few options. You can stop the audio, go look up the definition, then return to the episode, find your place, and press play again, but that's exhausting. Or you can just skip it and be confused. That's no fun either. But what if you could see the translation of the word into your language instantly without having to stop the audio, without having to look anything up? Well, you can at plainenglish.com. For each episode, we translate about 100 words and phrases from English to 9 languages: Spanish, Portuguese, Chinese, German, French, Italian, Japanese, Polish, and Turkish. And we highlight those words in blue. All you have to do is hover your mouse over the highlighted word and you'll see the translation instantly. It works great on mobile too. It really makes listening a lot more satisfying, and it's a great way to expand your vocabulary in English. The best way to see these translations is to sign up for a free 14-day trial at plainenglish.com. During your trial, you can read as many transcripts as you like, all with the translations into your language. So sign up for your free trial today at plainenglish.com.